No one saw this coming. Not Toyota, not BMW, not even Tesla's own board. But 5 minutes ago, the balance of power in the automotive world shifted permanently. Behind closed doors, at what was expected to be a routine investor briefing, a prototype vehicle was quietly introduced. There was no charge port, no battery pack, no combustion engine. Its only fuel source was water. At first, the announcement seemed implausible. Speculation erupted. Skeptics assumed it was a proof of concept, an engineering stunt. But then the machine was activated. It moved under its own power. No visible exhaust, no sound, just seamless acceleration, 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. And it didn't consume a single drop of gasoline or electricity. Tesla had done the unthinkable. Elon Musk addressed the audience with a brief but startling confirmation. This is Aquad Drive. Developed in complete secrecy since 2018, it doesn't store power, it generates it. Within minutes, global markets began to react. Tesla's valuations surged. Trading was temporarily halted. Energy analysts scrambled to interpret a future in which electric vehicles charged from the grid might already be outdated. Because Aqua Drive isn't a battery, it's a real-time hydrogen generation system powered entirely by water. At its core is a graphene ceramic ultrasonicator vibrating at over 22,000 cycles per second. This device breaks down water molecules inside a sealed chamber, extracting hydrogen as needed and feeding it directly into a micro-turbine combustion unit. There's no storage, no compression, no external infrastructure. The vehicle carries a modest 40-liter tank filled with distilled water. The system requires no special refueling procedure, just clean water from any safe source. Rainwater, filtered seawater, even tap water in emergencies. The result is over 820 kilometers of range per fill. Refueling time is less than 90 seconds. Top speed is 189 kilometers per hour, limited only by software. The exhaust is nothing but steam. Efficiency is over 90% thanks to a recirculated oxygen loop that pushes combustion output beyond anything seen in battery or fuel cell technology. And perhaps most disruptive of all, the operating cost is just 0.7 cents per mile. Aqua Drive isn't a marginal improvement. It's a total reinvention. It doesn't rely on superchargers. It doesn't depend on the electrical grid. It requires no lithium, no cobalt, no rare earth metals. And with one stroke, it undermines the industrial foundation of the global EV movement. The implications were immediate. Executives at competing automakers canceled press appearances. Hydrogen lobbyists launched emergency public relations briefings. Investment in lithium extraction saw an instant slowdown. Patent filings connected to Tesla spiked by the hour. Because a quad drive doesn't just disrupt technology, it disrupts power. Geopolitical, economic, and environmental. Entire supply chains are now in question. Charging infrastructure may soon be irrelevant. And the decades-long race for battery supremacy just lost its finish line. Musk's closing words weren't boastful. They were chilling in their simplicity. This isn't the end of electric, but it might be the beginning of something better. Aqua Drive doesn't ask the world to choose between gas or electric. It replaces the question altogether. A vehicle powered by water, fueled by vibration, generating its own energy on the move. Not a dream, not a prototype, but a fully functional system that already exists and now threatens to upend every blueprint in the transportation industry. This moment may be remembered as the day the future was rewritten again. And this time, it wasn't about batteries. It was about water. The problem was that no one told the battery kings their throne was gone. They thought they were ahead of the curve with solid-state batteries, AI-optimized charging stations, and lithium supply chains locked down for decades. Tesla was building the future on a battery pack. But behind closed doors, that future was starting to unravel. Not in test labs, but in boardrooms where margins were shrinking and forecasts no longer made sense. Every breakthrough in battery chemistry hit the same limits: cost, scale, and geopolitical volatility. The real turning point came from a startup almost no one remembered, buried deep in Tel Aviv, acquired without fanfare in 2021. There was no press release, no tweet from Musk, just a line item hidden in a shell company's asset list, Hydronova Systems Limited. Their original mission wasn't transportation. It was naval miniaturized water-splitting technology designed for long-range submarine drones. But at the heart of their system was something scalable, an ultrasonic separator capable of generating hydrogen on demand. Tesla's best engineers were sent in quietly and anonymously. Within months, the data was clear. Faster energy release, lower heat loss, zero lithium. But the biggest revelation wasn't technological, it was strategic. A propulsion system powered by water meant freedom. Freedom from rare earth monopolies. Freedom from cobalt conflicts. Freedom from a battery supply chain straining under its own weight. Internal memos were blunt. Lithium is the single-point failure of the EV revolution. The Aquadrive wasn't just a new engine. It was the contingency plan, and the timing was critical. Unpublished modeling data projected an 18% global decline in EV sales by 2027, not due to a failure of innovation, but because the infrastructure couldn't keep up. Fragile grids, charger downtime, lithium volatility under global pressure. The cracks were visible, so the decision was made. No fanfare, no leaks, just a prototype and a live demonstration to reset the narrative. But what followed wasn't celebration. It was escalation. Behind the scenes, resistance formed fast. Patent rejection attempts came within 36 hours, filed by a coalition of legacy energy firms, German utilities, Korean battery giants, even a French oil-linked shell company, all citing the same concern: destabilizing to global energy security. Soon after, leaked emails surfaced. Lobbyists discussed strategies to delay, discredit, or disable the technology. One line stood out: "This isn't an engine, it's a weapon." Then came the whispers from inside Tesla's Gigafactory. A senior propulsion engineer, crucial to Aquadrive testing, collapsed. The symptoms suggested poisoning. Nothing was confirmed, but the results he was finalizing vanished. Meanwhile, rivals moved in. Chinese automakers began reverse engineering similar technology. Academic papers were scraped. Old patents were reanalyzed. Tesla's cyber teams traced intrusion attempts back to institutions with state backing. The launch date was accelerated by 11 months, not for glory, but for defense. What the world witnessed wasn't a polished product. It was a warning shot. An early prototype, rough around the edges, deployed ahead of sabotage. And the fallout came fast. Rivian's value dropped $9 billion in one session. Lucid froze 2 production lines. NIO's crash was so sharp that Beijing issued a market-calming statement. But this wasn't just investor panic, it was narrative collapse. Ford issued a sudden hold on EV rollouts. GM followed, stating global demand projections would be reassessed. The subtext was clear. Confidence was gone. Even Panasonic, Tesla's longtime battery partner, broke ranks with a quiet but telling statement: all future energy storage initiatives will remain chemistry agnostic. Translation: they're no longer betting on lithium. Toyota, long mocked for hesitating on EVs, responded with a single word: next. A spokesperson claimed parallel testing of aqueous propulsion systems had been ongoing since 2020. It wasn't an admission of defeat, it was a declaration of war. At the infrastructure level, the shift was immediate. EV charger expansions across Europe were paused. Projects in Spain, Poland, and Sweden were all shelved. Because when a technology faces obsolescence, investment stops cold. This wasn't a product launch. It was a collapse of confidence. The industry, the governments, and the investors all realized the same truth at once. The electric vehicle revolution was never as stable as it seemed. And now, something had emerged that didn't need batteries, didn't need the grid, and didn't need permission. The future had changed, and no one was ready. At first, it felt like science fiction until reality cracked. But the real shockwave wasn't just in boardrooms or trading floors. It rippled straight into the hands of everyday consumers. Within 72 hours of Aquadrive's reveal, car dealerships across California, Germany, and South Korea reported foot traffic plummeting by nearly 40%. Automakers like Hyundai, Renault, and BYD scrambled to slash prices, offering unexpected discounts as deep as $4,500 to clear aging electric vehicle inventory. Online resale platforms saw a surge. Listings jumped 19% as anxious owners rushed to offload battery-dependent vehicles they feared had become obsolete overnight. Social media erupted. Forums flooded with questions. Should I cancel my Model Y delivery? Is it worth waiting for the water-powered cars? Even Tesla's most devoted customers hesitated, uncertain whether their investments were already outdated. For many, the allure of a propulsion system promising near-zero fuel costs, no range anxiety, and rapid refueling upended years of loyalty and planning. Insurance companies adjusted risk models on the fly, lowering premiums for aqua drive-enabled vehicles while hiking costs for older EVs. Fleet operators paused orders, reevaluating their entire procurement strategies. For the first time since the EV revolution began, the question wasn't when will the future arrive? It was has it already arrived and did I miss it? That quiet panic multiplied across millions and hit the global economy like a tectonic jolt. The markets opened in chaos. Within the first 47 minutes of trading, Saudi Aramco lost $29 billion, its sharpest single-day plunge since the 2020 oil collapse. Analysts on Bloomberg fell silent mid-broadcast, uncertain whether to label it a crash or a transformation. But in Oslo, something even stranger occurred. Norway abruptly suspended its National Lithium Reserve Initiative, a strategy once compared to the North Sea oil bonanza. Their sovereign wealth fund reallocated billions into desalination technology, citing emerging propulsion requirements. India, once trailing in the EV arms race, suddenly flipped the board. Parliament fast-tracked a bold hydrogen combustion tax credit, not just to catch up with Tesla, but to leapfrog it entirely. The bill passed in under 48 hours. Then came the G7 Energy Summit. Japan took the floor first. There was no mention of battery parity, no debates about EV quotas. Instead, they unveiled the Water Mobility Framework, urging regulators worldwide to rewrite vehicle classes and emissions laws before Musk's invention made them irrelevant. And then quietly, Russia released a single-line press memo. The Ministry of Defense is now fully engaged in the study of water-based propulsion for military transport. No elaboration, no press conference, just a cold signal. The arms race had officially begun. But while world powers scrambled to reposition their economies, the EV industry itself began to unravel. Over 50,000 charging station projects across North America were suddenly frozen, scrapped, or quietly shelved. Local officials cited strategic ambiguity. Private capital was gone without a trace. California's grid planners, once boasting a decade-long EV energy strategy, abandoned the model. Emergency funds were redirected into municipal water systems and mobile purification hubs. There was no fanfare, just hidden line items deep within public budget portals. Tesla, already 5 steps ahead, made its next move. The entire supercharger division was dissolved and reborn as Tesla Hydra Systems. Their first commercial product was mobile desalination pods with integrated hydrogen refueling capability deployable anywhere on Earth. The ripple effects were brutal. EV battery recycling firms went into freefall. Third-quarter forecasts were slashed by 22%. Contracts were frozen. Warehouses filled with lithium packs that nobody needed anymore. Meanwhile, gas station giants began quietly defecting. Shell, Chevron, and even BP launched pilot water hub programs across 3 continents. Each hub could purify, compress, and dispense hydrogen in under 6 minutes. But what had Musk unlocked that rewrote the laws of propulsion? At the heart of Tesla's Aqua drive engine lies a self-repairing piezo electric membrane capable of releasing 10 billion ultrasonic pulses per cycle. It disintegrates H2O molecules in real time. The pulse frequency is precisely tuned to the cavitation threshold of water, allowing hydrogen extraction without electrolysis and without external energy spikes. The combustion chamber, not metal, is forged from boron nitride microturbines, resilient beyond 2200 degrees Celsius. These turbines don't just survive the burn, they accelerate in it. There are no pistons, no crankshaft, Kinetic force is captured through a rotating magnetic axle coil, transforming plasma pressure directly into torque with zero mechanical lag. Lithium-ion is obsolete, replaced by supercapacitor arrays that handle power smoothing and regenerative braking, charging and discharging with no degradation at speeds 3,000 times faster than conventional cells. Even the waste is weaponized. Exhaust heat is funneled into a steam recompression loop, cooling the chamber while adding 18% to the total range. No muffler, no emissions, just vapor and forward momentum. This wasn't a drivetrain upgrade. This was a paradigm shift in motion itself. And somewhere deep within Tesla's Nevada Gigafactory, they weren't prototyping it. They were mass-producing it. But the world wasn't ready for what came next. Not lawmakers, not automakers, not oil magnates, because Musk's next move would render every existing transportation law irrelevant. And it all began with a vehicle the public had never seen. A model with no press leaks, no codename, no VIN, just a silhouette hidden behind biometric glass in a locked chamber. Not a car, not a truck, but something new. And when the doors finally opened, it wasn't science fiction. It was production ready. The vehicle wasn't just a prototype. It was a revolution packed into a refined Tesla frame. A design so modular it could be integrated into nearly any Tesla chassis on the road today. By 2027, internal projections revealed that 47% of all Model 3s could be upgraded to water propulsion with a simple drivetrain swap. No batteries, no rare earth metals, no dependencies. This wasn't just a technical breakthrough. It was an escape hatch from a global supply chain chokehold. A-Quad Drive eliminated all reliance on rare earth elements, fracturing China's decades-long control over the electric vehicle ecosystem. The consequences echoed beyond transportation, enabling energy independence and grassroots economies powered by nothing more than tap water, and the world's first decentralized auto revolution. In the most isolated corners of the planet, regions without electricity or fuel, this engine still worked. All it required was a basic hose, a small pump, and sunlight to purify the input. Entire legacies of infrastructure, monopoly, and international dependence were being outpaced by one of the simplest elements on Earth. But this storm had been forming for decades. Musk had dropped subtle warnings cryptic enough to ignore. In 2022, during a scarcely noted interview, he remarked, "Batteries are temporary. Nature has better chemistry." Most didn't grasp the weight behind the line. Then came a long-forgotten 2019 patent, one that detailed acoustic fluid splitters, the very mechanism now confirmed to be at the core of A-Quad Drive. Meanwhile, journalists who speculated on water propulsion were swiftly discredited through coordinated campaigns. Their stories vanished from major outlets. Inside SpaceX, the pivot began earlier. A quiet reassignment of top-tier chemists into a sealed-off division labeled Skunkworks Energy Lab raised eyebrows in Austin. These weren't rocket engineers. They were architects of a new energy paradigm. Even back in 2018, during the infamous Cybertruck teardown leaks, fragments of the A-Quad Drive system had already been spotted, cloaked beneath the vehicle's stainless steel armor. The technology wasn't new. It was hidden in plain sight. Now it was official. Tesla had opened Model H pre-orders, the hydrogen water variant, with delivery set for the fourth quarter of 2026. Within hours, demand surged by over 600%. This wasn't just a vehicle people were reserving. It was a movement, a declaration of independence. The defining moment came during the final product reveal. A demonstration was staged. A standard bottle of drinking water was poured directly into the engine's chamber. Seconds later, the vehicle came to life. No cables, no petroleum, no theatrics, just clean water converting into motion. The symbol was unmistakable. The message reverberated louder than any press release. The future doesn't run on lithium. It doesn't burn oil. It flows with water. Behind closed doors, Wall Street convulsed. Analysts scrambled to revalue every asset tied to EVs. Stock tickers surged and collapsed in real time. Funds shifted course and billion-dollar forecasts dissolved into vapor. For the rest of the world, it's no longer speculating about when the electric era will arrive because it just got eclipsed by a new one. Water propulsion isn't coming. It's already here. And what it means for governments, for corporations, and for civilization itself remains unknown. The engine is running, but the journey has only just begun.